Are you still running your business with one creaky old phone system? Missing calls, losing track of messages, and scrambling to keep up with your team? It's time to break up with the past and say hello to Quo. Quo is the #1 business phone system with 4.7 stars across 3,000 reviews on G2. Quo brings all your business phone calls and texts into one app for your team. No more juggling devices or being tied to a landline. Quo's built-in AI logs calls, creates summaries, automates follow-ups, and can even answer and route calls so you never miss an opportunity. Whether you're a solo operator or leading a growing team, Quo keeps you connected and helps you deliver standout customer experiences. Join over 90,000 businesses using Quo and see why it's the #1 business phone system for customer satisfaction. Level up your workflow with Quo. Get started free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/tech. That's Quo, spelled QUO.com/tech. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over for free. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Hey, everybody. Before we jump into this episode, I had intended to do Elon's remarks and then do the Q&A section. And Elon, it took longer than I thought it would, because Elon's remarks were longer than I thought they would be. And it set me off a little bit. So it made me a little chatty, and not in a good way. So here's the deal. If you don't think you're going to enjoy this episode, don't listen. Elon is being Elon, and I am being me. I would highly encourage you, if this is your warning. If you don't think this is interesting, it's okay. Don't listen. The next episode that we have will be the question and answer section, which is generally more interesting anyway. And then on Tuesday, I'm still going to put out a little bit of news, so you'll have that as well. But just a kind of heads up, because I've already recorded the actual episode that you're about to hear, and I didn't want to have to go back and kind of move things around, because I think I say that we're in the beginning of the intro that we're going to cover Elon's remarks as well as the Q&A. We're not including the Q&A in this section. All right, everybody, thanks so much. Whether you listen or don't, I love you all, and let's just get to the show.
Welcome back to Texas, the home of Tesla. My name is Brandon Erhart. I'm the General Counsel and Corporate Secretary, and welcome to your 2025 Annual Shareholder Meeting. Similar to last year, this meeting will have 2 parts. We'll go through the 14 ballot items, and the second part, Elon Musk. Today, we will discuss business outlook and may make other forward-looking statements. Such statements or predictions are based on current expectations. Actual events or results may differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties that are disclosed in our SEC filings. Such forward-looking statements represent our views as of today and should not be relied on thereafter. We make no obligation to update them after today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host, and my voice is going because I've been talking into this microphone pretty much all week. Not necessarily just for this podcast, but just lots of other things that I've got going. I'm happy to report that 2 of the podcasts that I did this week that you haven't heard yet I guess this would be the third that you haven't heard yet as you're hearing it now. But two of the podcasts that I did this week, one was the Thanksgiving extravaganza, the special that we do, the Jeopardy-like game that we do. Allison and Steve Sheridan joined me for that. That will air, of course, on Thanksgiving. And then the other thing that I recorded was yesterday, November 7th, I recorded with Veronica Wright, who is Electrified Veronica. She is a theoretical physicist. She consults in the battery industry, and we had a fantastic conversation. I would say it was nerdy, but I'm not sure that that for Veronica, we even delved into the depths of her knowledge. I think we were just on the surface level, and it was still an amazing interview. So that will come out on Friday the 14th, and I'm really excited for you to hear it. It was fun. You know, it was like one of those conversations where I just kept having more and more questions, and I had to just kind of like cut myself off and say, okay, wait. We have to move on to the next topic. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever. So Veronica was very generous with her time. I really appreciate her coming on, and she was a lot of fun to hang out with. All right. This particular episode is part 2 of Tesla shareholders meeting, which was Elon's, Q&A session. So we're going to go ahead and listen to that. Let's go ahead and start off. If you're kind of getting an idea of where we are in the process, we just ended the proposals, and now Elon's coming on stage to do his little chat. Let's go ahead and listen. Oh, just kind of as a point of reference too, he came on stage and did a little dance. And Optimus robots were on stage, and they were dancing as well. And they just came out and did a little fun little dance. So now we're going to get to Elon's, initial remarks. All right, one more thing, because I haven't listened to this, and I'm watching it as we go through this. So I'm actually editing the show as we're going. So, again, one more thing. Behind Elon in the Cybertruck font, or the Cyber font, or whatever Tesla's calling it, it says sustainable abundance. This is the... I realize I have made it known that I don't like this term, but it's like, this is what you sell people before you steal their money. I'm not saying that's what Tesla is doing. I'm just saying this is a big promises, and then people are left broke. Not saying this is what Tesla's doing. I'm just saying that's the vibe I get. But I don't think they're doing that per se. All right. Don't sue me. Let's move on to Elon's sustainable abundance talk. And I promise this time it's for real.
First of all, I'd like to just give a heartfelt thanks to everyone who supported the shareholder votes. I super appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank the Tesla board for their immense support. We have a fantastic board, fantastic group of shareholders. Thank you all. And what we're about to embark upon is not merely a new chapter of the future of Tesla, but a whole new book. And I'm going to talk about that. So this really is going to be quite the story. And Optimus is a fundamental part of that. The sheer scale of Optimus, I mean, I'm going to say a bunch of things that probably I shouldn't say, but but that's what keeps it interesting. I mean, have you watched any other annual shareholder meeting? I mean, honestly, I was like, if you need to go to sleep, sure. But other shareholder meetings are like snooze fests. But ours are bangers. Look at this. This is sick.
That is true. Other shareholder meetings tend to be a little dull. So I will give Tesla all the credit for having all the fun when it comes to shareholder meetings. Moving on.
Yeah, we got like the cyberpunk nightclub here with real robots just standing there and milling around and dancing. And round out our engineering headquarters in Palo Alto, the robots are just walking around the office 24/7 with no one minding them. And then they go charge themselves. And so the scale of Optimus, like I said, that's really going to be something else. I think it's going to be the biggest product of all time by far. Yeah. So, like bigger than cell phones, bigger than anything. I guess the way to think about it is that every human on Earth is going to want to have their own personal R2-D2 C-3PO. So who wouldn't? But actually, Optimus will be even better than them. R2-D2 just kind of beep at you, and it's kind of hard to figure out what he's talking about. You need C-3PO to translate. But Optimus is going to be, everyone's going to want one. I think in terms of industry providing products and services, I think it's probably, 3 to 5 robots in industry for every, one that's a personal robot. I think there could be tens of billions of Optimus robots out there. Now, obviously, it's very important we pay close attention to safety here, because we do want the Star Wars movie, not the Jim Cameron movie. I love Jim Cameron's movies, but you know what I mean. So, So we're going to launch on the fastest production ramp of any product, of any large complex manufactured product ever. And starting with building a 1 million unit production line in Fremont. That's line one. And then a 10 million unit per year production line here on the I don't know where we're going to put the 100 million unit production line. Maybe on Mars, I don't know. But I think it's going to literally get to 100 million a year, maybe even 1 billion a year.
Billion seems like a lot. 100 million seems like a stretch goal. I looked up, I asked ChatGPT, how many products sell 1 billion units a year? And from what I got back, and these seems pretty, I don't know if the numbers are 100% correct, but it does seem relatively reasonable that Coca-Cola sells around 1.9 billion servings per day globally, which is amazing. Barbie is said to have sold 1 billion dolls across its lifetime. And the Korean noodles product, Buldak Ramen, is reported to have sold 4 billion cumulative sales as of 2022. So right around 1 billion a year for that. 1 billion's hard. Those are lifetime stats, not annual stats. The sales, Barbie's been around forever, more than 50 years. Barbie's been around, and that brand has sold 1 billion sold across its lifetime, and that's a few dollars. It's not $25,000, $30,000. I mean, 100 million is even. 100 million is a lot too. My thought is these things should last a while. So if you're maybe at one point in time you might hit 100 million in sales, but if these things are lasting for a couple of years, it seems like you might have a really good period of sales. And then as, you've scaled up, you can't infinitely scale up your business. You still have to have people who want to purchase those items. And that goes for Tesla, and that goes for the companies that are planning on buying these. And then as far as like consumer sales, right, there's a few 100 million people, which is not nothing, in the world that can afford to buy a $25,000, $30,000 toy to clean their house and do their yard work. If, and that's being very specific here, if this can actually do all of the tasks that you need it to do with minimal training. And that's a big if. Not an impossible if, by the way, but a big if. So it just seems like those are extraordinarily optimistic numbers for optimists. And that's also taking into consideration that no other companies have thrown their hat into the robotics ring. And we know that they have. So that would be like every company and every person just buying a robot from Tesla every year, that seems really high. I mean, would they hit a few 100 million in 1 year if everything works the way that they say it? Well, probably. Like, let's just say this. Let's say a vacuum company buys all of the Optimus robots, and they're able to completely wipe out their human cost. Like they're able to, other than a few people at the top, they're able to completely remove their employees. So you have a few people at the top, you have a few people maintaining the robots. Well, vacuums are already built largely on an assembly line. They're already, like, there's not a lot of humans going in and screwing in every single bolt of the vacuum cleaner. So a lot of that manufacturing is already automated. So if you replace the humans with the robots, you're not replacing. There's already a lot of capital in that assembly line that has lowered costs. So I don't see this. Like you can only sell so many vacuums. If I buy a vacuum from that vacuum cleaner company, I'm not buying another vacuum until that vacuum dies. So what is the motivation for the vacuum company to scale up and buy a bunch of Optimus robots when I already own a vacuum? Many people already own a vacuum and they don't replace it until it dies, or they find that for whatever reason they need a second vacuum. And sometimes that happens. I have two vacuums. One vacuum is very good for doing hardwood floors, and the other one's very good for doing carpets. I have both in my house. I have tile. It's not hardwood. It looks like hardwood. But I have both in my house, and, when we're trying to do deep cleaning, we use the one with the hardwood for the hardwood floors. That works better. Actually, I have more than that. I have robot vacuums too, because I'm lazy. But anyway, the point is, like, at some point in time, these products are going to last a little bit longer. So you can't just scale because your costs go down and everything's cheaper and you just assume people are going to buy it. Because there's already a lot of automation in the manufacturing process. By replacing the humans, you will absolutely save money, but that does not increase demand for your product. So at some point in time, you don't want to have a robot army standing around and doing nothing. You probably want to have a couple of extra in the wings, just in case one breaks, and a couple are charging and you would like to continue running your factory with your robot army. I think that's probably reasonable, right? But the idea that you're just going to infinitely scale up so that Tesla can sell a billion Optimus robots and buy basically from no other company that's selling robots. And there are other companies out there, and they're in various stages. Let's remember that Tesla has not released a robot yet. They have not sold a robot yet. They have made many references to how close they are to selling this robot. And listen, I don't want anybody to think that I don't think that this is cool. And I think this would be awesome if, it was able to do the things that it says it could do. My wife and I, we are getting older. We could probably afford to buy one robot at around $25,000. that would keep our house clean and animals fed, that would be awesome. Like that, like we could go away for the weekend and not worry about whether or not the water in the cat's bowl is dry or not. The robot could take care of that. Anyway, my whole point to this is those numbers are really optimistic, and it again requires a very optimistic market to purchase their robots, which I think is a lot. I think if Elon would say, we could sell tens of millions of these a year, that's probably closer to what reality is, but billion a year, and you think you're going to, there's only 8 billion people in the world. You think that's sustainable, $1 billion a year? You have 10 billion robots in 10 years, plus whatever you sold before you started selling $1 billion a year. In 20 years, you have 20 billion. So there's going to be a point in time where we just have robots crammed into places, if that's the metric that we're using. At some point, those sales are going to decline because the market will saturate. That was a really long explanation for just saying at some point, the market's going to be full of robots and won't need more robots for a period of time. All right, let's get back to Elon.
People often talk about like eliminating poverty, giving everyone amazing medical care. Well, there's actually only one way to do that, and that's with the Optimus robot. With humanoid robots, you can actually give everyone amazing medical care.
Why? Why are we saying this? Like, maybe this is true, but there's a lot that needs to happen before that is ever going to be a thing. Like, why are we talking about this? This is not the near future. This is the far future at best. Again, this very much feels like I'm gonna tell you all of these things that I'm gonna give you. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be awesome. And we already know that Elon is delayed in a lot of his timelines. We already know that Elon has exaggerated what his technology is capable of. I'm not saying he's lying per se, because he always talks about what it's going to be capable of and rarely talks about what it's capable of right now. And listen, I didn't want this to be a negative thing. I was really hoping that we could jump into some fun, exciting, nerdy stuff. So I'm not trying to do this, but it's like, why are you saying these things? One day we could get into the medical field. That'd be awesome. Why are you saying that it could be your best surgeon? Why are you saying that it could be your doctor and more accurate than other doctors? That might be true, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I will be close to checking out of this world before we even get close to that. There's a lot of things that have to happen for that to take place at any scale in terms of making sure that these things are safe. The first time one of those robots cuts into somebody and something bad happens, or the robot is your family practice robot and it misdiagnoses you or misses a diagnosis, even though doctors do that all the time, like human doctors. It just seems like you're just opening yourself up. You're known for not delivering 100% on your promises. You're known for missing timelines. And I will give Tesla and Elon credit that eventually they do the thing, but it's rarely what it's supposed to be. The Cybertruck did not come out at a $40,000 starting price. The mid range vehicle was not, just under $50,000. That didn't happen. And the starting price of the initial Cybertruck, there was a lot. It was bundled in with a bunch of other stuff, and it was a price that a lot of people couldn't afford. So, and they haven't sold very many, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 or 30,000 over the time that it's been on sale. Like I would buy another Tesla tomorrow if it fit my needs, right? I have no problem buying from this company. I don't know if I would buy a robot, because some of the things that Tesla employees have done, and this isn't Elon or Tesla's fault per se, but like, Tesla employees a couple of years ago were caught sharing video of, accidents, kids getting in accidents. They would share them back and forth. I don't know if it was a good time, but it wasn't for official business purposes. It was for personal. Somebody walked into their garage to put something in the laundry, and they were I don't know if they were completely nude. They might have just been topless and that kind of thing. There were videos being shared around Tesla. I don't think because of that, I don't think I would want an Optimus in my house, but I would want something similar to that. I would just want to make sure there were safeguards, that employees weren't, sharing videos of me sitting on the couch naked. Like it's not what I don't want to pay $25,000 for humiliation. So I need to have some higher safeguards in that regard. But anyway, let's get back. I just don't know why. Like, stop promising the moon. Like, say these are some areas that we think we can get to, in some sectors that we think, but it can't be good for everything. Have you ever been sold on something that is good for everything, and they say this will take care of this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem, and it will cure your diabetes? And in reality, it's not good at any of those things. That analogy right there is more apt to happen than something being good at everything.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
For the next 20 seconds, picture yourself in a small town. Historic buildings, hip galleries, and a chairlift. Right on Main Street, smack in the middle of town. Now picture yourself on that chairlift. Crisp snowflakes and tall pines gliding beneath your skis. And now you're looking at that small town from the top of the mountain. Hey, is that a moose down there? If you can't wait to find out, you're the mountain kind. And you need to visit Park City, Utah.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success. Like your enrollment specialist, who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Cash flow crunch? OnDeck Small Business Line of Credit gives your business immediate access to funds up to $200,000 right when you need it. Cover seasonal dips, manage payroll, restock inventory, or tackle unexpected expenses without missing a beat. With flexible draws, transparent pricing, and control over repayment, get funded quickly and confidently. Apply today at OnDeck.com. Funds could be available as soon as tomorrow. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
All right, let's go back to Elon's opening remarks. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be negative. This is typically, historically, this is my favorite part of the shareholder meeting, is hearing about all the cool things that Tesla's doing. I'm just like, I feel like you're selling me a bunch of promises so that you can justify your pay package. And that's irritating to me. Like, you got your pay package, great. Go do the things that you need to do so that you can earn your money. Stop promising me things that may or may not happen. Like the Tesla Roadster, we were told just recently, a couple of days ago, that there was, before the shareholder vote, we were told that we were going to see a demonstration of the Tesla Roadster. And then after the shareholder vote, we find out that demonstration's postponed until April of 2026. Like, these kind of things bug me. All right, let's go ahead and jump to our next clip.
In terms of Optimists will be more precise. Optimists will ultimately be better than the best human surgeon, with a level of precision that isn't possible, that is beyond human. So I think that's a pretty wild concept to say, okay, if you know, people always talked about eliminating poverty, but actually optimists will actually eliminate poverty. Optimists will actually give people incredible medical care.
Okay. I think I've found a way around this. Like, make all of the outrageous claims you want, and then provide the data as to how you think you're going to get there. Give us a white paper. Tesla has all sorts of research scientists and smarty pants people that could do this. Provide the data as to how this is going to happen and how we're going to eliminate poverty. Because again, it's not just that you get a robot and you've eliminated poverty. You have to have governments involved. You have to have stakeholders involved. You have to have people that, actually care about the people that they're governing. There are countries in this world where dictators do not necessarily care. The people that they're governing are means to an end, and they keep them under their thumb, and they're in poverty. So why would they lift them out of poverty? That they're the ones that put them there. Like North Korea is an example of this. It's not I'm not throwing shade at the North Korean people, because I have a lot of empathy for what they're going through. Okay, so without saying too much, I've been to countries that were relatively free. However, if you criticize the government or the leaders, you could be thrown in jail. And I made a few comments observations, nothing that was too negative. And I was told by people that we were hanging out with, like, hey, don't say that too loud. That's against the law here. So why would some of those types of people who can't take criticism want to help their people and lift them out of the situation that they're in? Like, there's just too many things that go on. There's just too many things that have to happen in place to eliminate poverty. Too many things. All right. Moving on.
I mean, and so you start getting like sort of some pretty wild sci-fi sort of scenarios where, and some of these things I say will obviously be taken out of context and used in snippets and, sent around, but whatever. I'm still going to say them.
I feel very seen right now. I'm not trying to take anything out of context, though, Elon. If you listen to this, I am trying to be very fair, because I do want to see the kind of things that you say are going to happen. I do want to see those things happen. But I see very seen. I'm not trying to take things out of context, everybody. I'm trying to keep them in very much context. Let's move on.
I think we may be able to give people a more, if somebody's committed crime, a more humane form of containment of future crime, which is if you say, like, you now get a free optimist, and it's just going to follow you around and stop you from doing crime. But other than that, you get to do anything. It's just going to stop you from committing crime. That's really it. Then you don't have to put people in like prisons and stuff. I think it's pretty wild to think of the various of all the possibilities, but I think it's clearly the future. My book recommendation for maybe the best, mostly utopian sci-fi future are the N. Banks books, the culture books. So if you're curious, like, what do I think the future is probably like? I think it's probably a bit like that. Asimov to some degree, but I think it's, and Heinlein, but N. Banks, if you're like saying, what does Elon think the future probably will be like for AI and robots, it's kind of Banksian. Now, and things do get kind of wild from an economic standpoint, because at a certain point, with AI and robotics, you can actually increase the global economy by a factor of 10 or maybe 100. There's not like an obvious limit. Like Optimus is kind of like an infinite money glitch. And maybe there won't even be money in the future. Or money might be measured in terms of wattage, like how much power can you bring to bear from an electrical standpoint. I guess what I'm saying is hang on to your Tesla stock. Yeah. So, man, it's pretty wild. You're welcome.
All right, so we've ended the Optimus talk, as far as I know. Elon said they have some slides to go through. I've already made all of these things known about how I feel. I do think that using Optimus as a babysitter for people who've committed crimes to allow them to still move about their day in their life. But it does seem like that might be a little, if somebody steals, no, we're not talking about armed robbery, but if somebody shoplifts or whatever, and that's their third or fourth offense, I don't know how I feel about a robot following you around. Like, I believe in rehabilitation over like just punishment, and then think, have you learned your lesson? I believe in teaching folks new skills and all that stuff. And listen, if you think that this is some super weird, liberally nonsense that's coming out of my mouth, and you think that people should be in jail, let me just tell you, a lot of my family members have been in jail, and through a lot of very hard work and multiple mistakes, did eventually rehabilitate, but it didn't take jail to rehabilitate them. That was an unpleasant experience for sure. And when I say a lot of my family members, many of my uncles and have spent some time, not so much on one side of the family, just a little more on the other, spent a little bit of time here and there in jail. And their rehabilitation did not come necessarily from the being afraid to go to prison, although that's probably a little bit of it. The rehabilitation came from they had other things to motivate them to not do the things that they were doing and stay out of prison. They were rehabilitated. They learned new skills, and they became productive members of society, that kind of thing. So that's kind of that's kind of where my views come from. Turn their lives around. And I do think that alternative ways of when somebody commits a crime, I'm just not having a robot follow you around in the grocery store seems like a scarlet letter, right? Like if you walk in and you have the tattletale robot following you around, I believe everybody in the store will also now be following you around to make sure that the Optimus robot is stopping you from stealing, if we're going with the shoplifting metaphor still. So, yeah, like that's it's an interesting thought. Again, I don't think prison just as a form of punishment does much to deter people from going back. Some people it does, but I think we need actual rehabilitation. And we need to do a better job, especially here in the U.S. All right. Let's move on to the slides that Elon said that they were going to do.
Let's see. I think we've got some slides to go through. I'm going to ad-lib a lot of this stuff, but so when we started Tesla, the goal was to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy, and that's what we've done. I think Tesla has really led the way with electric vehicles, with battery packs, with a lot of solar, and many other companies have then followed our lead and done that. And electric cars, which used to be non-existent, are now prevalent. And and the Model Y, for example, is the number one selling car of any kind on Earth. But obviously now with AI and robotics, we need to update our mission. And our mission, I think it's good. It's a great mission, which is to achieve sustainable abundance. Which is, it's like, because I often ask people, like, what is the future that you want? What's the best future you can imagine? Because we want to try to make that future, like make the best future you can imagine. And I guess probably the best future is if people, can have whatever they want from a goods and services standpoint or medical standpoint, but at the same time we don't destroy nature, and we keep the rainforests and the beautiful national parks and all that stuff. And so that's what I mean by sustainable abundance. Is that people, can have whatever they want, have all their needs met, but we still keep all of the natural beauty that we want. Okay. I mean, if somebody can think of a better future, I'm all ears. But I think that's probably the best way to go. So yeah. Let's see. So yeah. As you know, every Tesla is designed to be autonomous. So it's sometimes difficult to explain to people if they've not. In fact, I'm sure you've all encountered this, where you try to tell people that the Tesla can drive itself, and they think you're crazy or something. I mean, especially apart from the Cybertruck, our cars look pretty normal. I mean, they're good-looking cars, but they don't look super. They look normal. But I guess it's kind of like having a cat, and the cat's just sitting. Let's say you've got a cat and it's like just sitting there on the couch, and you try to tell people that the cat can actually, it's actually Puss in Boots, and it can actually put on boots and a hat and swashbuckle and sing and dance. And people are like, no way, man, that's a cat. Until the cat does all those things. And you're like, damn, what the? We've got, millions of Tesla cars out there that are kind of like Puss in Boots. They're intelligent, but people don't know that they're intelligent. They look like normal cars, but actually they're super smart and can drive themselves. So I think that's probably the single biggest thing we need to do is to educate potential customers that you can either have a cat that's like a normal cat, or you can have Puss in Boots. And Puss in Boots is very cool. These days, when people come to our stores, or even people that have the car haven't turned it on, we find. And sometimes people have paid for FSD and haven't turned it on. We're like, what? You should at least try it once. And so now we'll the sales team, the service team will actually sit with customers and say, look, let us show you how it works and how easy it is. And then once they've tried it for even just a few days, they can't live without it. And now with version 14, we're actually getting to the point where we almost feel comfortable allowing people to text and drive, which is kind of the killer app. Because that's really what people want to do, and do. Actually, right now the versions, the car's a little strict about keeping your eyes on the road, but I'm confident that in the next month or two, we're going to look closely at the safety statistics, but we will allow you to text and drive, essentially. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not saying this is the case everywhere, but they're going to need some sort of government approval for this to happen, to do it on public roads like highways and surface streets. As far as I know, there's no like federal approval that needs to happen here in the United States, but in terms of states, 100% that needs to get worked through state government. So it's not as easy as Tesla just saying, hey, go use it. It might be that way in some places, but it isn't that way everywhere. Oh, and you know what? I need to be clear here. He didn't say level 3 autonomy. I inferred that because with level 3, you can take your eyes off the road and do tasks for a period of time under certain conditions, usually. Like you got to be under a certain speed limit, and you got to be on certain roads in different states and where these things are regulated. It's not unanimous isn't the word I'm looking for, but it's not the same across all federal agencies or governmental agencies that need to approve this. Like in California and Nevada, Mercedes can have level 3 autonomy, but it's on certain roads, with certain speed limits under certain conditions. So, level 3 autonomy is something that you would need to be able to do this, and you would need some sort of governmental approval. And I'm not saying that's everywhere, but definitely Europe, China, certain states across the U.S., you're not just going to be able to roll this out everywhere. All right, let's continue on.
It's certainly been the current situation, which often people will actually turn off FSD to text, then turn it back on, which is less safe. So yeah, that's probably the single biggest thing is just get people aware of FSD. And then obviously we need to get it approved in Europe. So we certainly appreciate the support of our customers in Europe pushing the regulators to approve FSD, because you can't even get even just normal supervised FSD is not allowed in Europe currently, which doesn't make any sense. And I've had these like crazy conversations with the regulators that seem like a Franz Kafka novel, where I'm like, well, look, we have billions of kilometers of data that shows that FSD increases safety. And they're like, well, we have to have all these committee meetings. I'm like, yeah, but people's lives are at stake here. So definitely a pressure from our customers in Europe to push the regulators to approve would be appreciated. And then we have partial approval in China, and we hopefully we'll have full approval in China around February or March or so. That's what they've told us.
And to be clear, what he's talking about there is the current full self-driving that we have here in the U.S. Tesla did have some form of level 2 full self-driving in China, and then China was like, it's doing too many things wrong, and we're going to pull back a little bit, and that's where the partial approval came from what I understand. I might be getting some of the details wrong, but that's how I understand that it went. And Europe, when Elon says that lives are at stake, that is true, and I'm a firm believer that we should not be taking the company that made the product, we should not be taking their word for it on how safe it is. I think that should be independently verified, whether that's through the government or through some third-party independent agency. I agree with you. Lives are at stake. I agree with you that the safety features that I use in my Tesla have been very helpful and probably saved me from a potential, crashes. Like, who knows if there were really going to be crashes, but I've definitely looked and thought I saw something that I didn't see, and the car warned me, and I was like, oh, it's not clear, or whatever it was. The car's been very helpful in that regard. But in terms of full self-driving safety, yeah. Also, to go back to the regulatory thing where they have got to get approval, they only have partial approval in China, and they still got to get approval for FSD in Europe. Again, what makes you think they're going to let you drive while texting? Moving on. You still got to get approval. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success, like your enrollment specialist who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
All right, let's continue on.
The fact that every Tesla car is capable of full self-driving, every car we build and have built for the last several years is capable of full self-driving is pretty wild, and most people don't know that.
Oh, God bless. I'm trying to be nice here, but people don't know that because it's not true. It's not true. Hardware 3, we're up against that limit. Hardware 2, not even close. Hardware 4 is a huge baby, and let's hope that it works for Hardware 4. But it's not. Stop saying this stuff. I genuinely am upset that I have to even, I love doing these. They are fun for me. This one is not fun for me. It's not. Let's continue on. Also, I guess you could argue what he means by the last several years, because Hardware 4 came out in 2023. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll go back to June of 2023. Everything after that could possibly be, to be fair, level 5 autonomy capable, possibly. I will give them that. We'll continue on.
So, and then we've got the first car that is specifically built for unsupervised full self-driving to be a robotaxi. It's called a cybercab. It doesn't even have pedals or steering wheel. Yeah. So there's no side view mirrors. There's no So it's very much optimized for the lowest cost per mile in an autonomous mode. And that production is happening right here in this factory, and we'll be starting production in April next year. So the way that Cybercab is designed is it's designed obviously for a purely autonomous world, but also the manufacturing system is unlike any other car. The manufacturing system of the Cybercab it's closer to a high volume consumer electronics device than it is a car manufacturing line. So the net result is that I think we should be able to achieve, ultimately less than a 10-second cycle time, basically a unit every 10 seconds. Maybe ultimately take a few years to get there, but it's theoretically possible to get to a 5-second production time. And so what that would mean is you could get on a line that would normally produce, say, 500,000 cars a year at a 1-minute cycle time, like Model Y. This would be maybe as much as 2 or 3 million. Maybe ultimately, it's theoretically possible to achieve a 5 million unit production line if you can get to the 5-second cycle time. So. It's a lot of cars. So these will be everywhere in the future. So, and we wanted to look futuristic, so it changes the look of the roads.
I think the Cybercab is cool. I don't know if it's going to be the thing that Tesla needs it to be, but I think it's a cool idea, and I'm glad that they're trying it. It does look like the Cybercab will have to have, at least temporarily, a steering wheel, pedals, and mirrors, and we'll kind of see whether or not that ends up being the case or not when they finally are put on the road and able to take drivers around. But for right now, yeah, they're going to have to be, it sounds like anyway, they're going to have have those components. And then April 2026, I put a reminder in my calendar asking, is Tesla starting the Cybercab production yet? We'll see what happens.
The ingredients, when you look at what Optimus is, what's required to make Optimus and the various ingredients, what do you need to do to do high volume humanoid robot production? I think it's worth considering that really the cars we make are already robots, but they're four-wheeled robots. So Tesla is already the biggest robot manufacturer in the world because every car we make is a robot. And when you break it down to the fundamental elements, you've got batteries, power electronics, motors, gearboxes. You've got connectivity. You've got a vision-based AI. Hi, Optimus. And all the various pieces that you need for a humanoid robot. You need the AI chip. You need the AI software. You need to be able to manage a large fleet. And so really Optimus is a robot with arms and legs as opposed to a robot with wheels. So Tesla's ideally suited, I think, to succeed in this arena. You will see certainly many companies showing demonstration robots. There's really three things that are super difficult about robots. One is the engineering of the forearm and hand, because the human hand is an incredible thing, actually. It's super dexterous. So engineering the hand really well, the real-world AI, and then volume manufacturing. Those are generally the things that are missing. One or more of those things are missing from other companies. So Tesla is the only one that has all three of those. So this is the Optimus kind of initial. It's kind of the prototype production line. The high volume production line will be very automated, obviously, but this is really the production line that we use to make the prototypes. So you can get a sort of rough sense for what it takes to build the robot. And then, as I've said before, I think once we reach about 1 million units per year of sustained production or in excess of that, I think probably the cost of production is around $20,000 in current year dollars. So this will be certainly very affordable. Like I said, I think Optimus will ultimately increase the size of the economy probably by a factor of 10 or more. Next year we start production with Optimus version 3. What you're seeing here is Optimus version 2.5. Optimus 3 is an incredibly good design. The Tesla engineering team is amazing. When you see Optimus 3, it will seem as though that there's someone like a person in a robot outfit, which is how we started with Optimus. It really is going to be something special. And then Optimus 4, that hopefully starts production in 27, and then Optimus 5 in 28. So it's kind of like an annual release cycle with significant improvements with each one and gigantic increases in the scale of production. So, yeah, sustainable abundance via AI and robotics. That's the future we're headed for.
You know, BYD is building a robot too. BYD's vehicles build themselves. Could BYD make a similar claim? Probably. You know, it would be interesting to see what the actual numbers are on that. I do recognize that making a robot be able to grasp things and do fine motor skills is extraordinarily difficult. And to this point, we haven't really seen Tesla do that per se, because like at the big Cybercab rollout, we found out that some of those robots were being controlled remotely. Not to say that the robot wasn't specifically picking up certain things and putting things down, but it was controlled remotely in some instances. I would still... I'm a little cautious on that. Let's put it that way. Let's go ahead and move on.
And as I think most people here know, the safety statistics show that miles driven on FSD are much safer than miles driven without it. So what this will translate to ultimately is saving the lives of millions of people and preventing hundreds of millions of accidents. So a massive increase in lives solved and tragedies avoided. It's going to be amazing. And how many people here have tried 14.1? Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, you can see even with the point releases, it's getting quite a bit better. It should be pretty smooth at this point. But really, 14.2 is, there are major changes to 14.2 and then 14.3. I think by 14.3 is when we'll really be at the point where you can just pretty much fall asleep and wake up at your destination. So. And then I've been putting a lot of time into the new Tesla chip design because in order to have a functional robot, you have to have a great AI chip. And it needs to be an inexpensive chip, and it needs to be very power efficient. So we believe the AI5 chip will be probably about a third of the power of, say, something like a Blackwell, an NVIDIA Blackwell, which is a great chip, for roughly comparable performance, and much less than 10% of the cost. So. This is a chip that is very much optimized for the Tesla AI software stack. So it's not meant to be a general purpose chip. It's meant to be an amazing chip for the Tesla AI software. A couple things that I think how is Tesla able to achieve such an improvement? I think it is because we are specialized. We're not trying to. NVIDIA has to serve the superset of all past and future customers. So all of their requirements, all of the software that they've written has to work, which is a very difficult problem. Whereas we just need to make it work for our software. And so we're able to simplify the chip dramatically. And then we also, I think we're unique in this, but we have an integer-based system. And integer operations are fundamentally more efficient than floating point operations. So we can do floating point, but the vast majority of our inference is done in integer, which is, if you're familiar with sort of logic gates, like the simplicity of integer, and integer is much more power efficient, much more silicon efficient, but you actually have to train for integer inference, which everyone else is training for floating point. That's kind of like a niche technical detail, but it's actually very important. So, this is going to be a great chip. So this chip will be made in 4 places: TSMC Taiwan, Samsung Korea, TSMC Arizona, and TSMC Texas. And we already know what improvements to make for AI6. So I'm hopeful that we can, within less than a year of AI5 starting production, we can actually transition in the same fab to AI6 and double all of the performance metrics. So I'm super hardcore on chips right now, as you may be able to tell. I have chips on the brain. I dream about chips, literally. I can draw the at least the broad brushstroke physical design of the AI5 chip by heart at this point. It's a good chip. It's a good chip, sir. So this is really key.
Okay, so there are a couple of different ways that accidents can be measured, and it's not to say that there are Tesla's lying about their safety statistics. It's just, how are these measured? I would like to know more information on how that works. But to be clear, I think FSD is very valuable, especially when it's working, but there's still edge cases. 14.3, level 5 autonomy, probably unlikely. Right now we're on 14.1. It's only 2 more big revisions. And then AI5 is specifically built for Teslas. We already knew that. Let's move on.
Now, one of the things I'm trying to figure out is, how do we make enough chips? I have a lot of respect for the Tesla partners, TSMC and Samsung. Maybe we'll do something with Intel. We haven't signed any deal, but it's probably worth having discussions with Intel. But even when we extrapolate the best case scenario for chip production from our suppliers, it's still not enough. So I think we may have to do a Tesla terafab. So it's like Giga, but way bigger. I can't see any other way to get to the volume of chips that we're looking for. So I think we're probably going to have to build a gigantic chip fab. Yeah. It's got to be done. So anyway, some of the stuff I've already talked about. We've done a tremendous amount for sustainable energy, and that's only going to grow over time. The world is moving towards a solar battery economy, which is ultimately that's where it was going to go anyway. But what Tesla's done is accelerate that outcome. Sometimes people don't understand quite how much energy comes from the sun. So the sun is 99.8% of all mass in the solar system, Jupiter being 0.1%, and then 0.1% is miscellaneous, Earth being in the miscellaneous category. So the total amount of energy, sometimes people say, well, we'll build fusion reactors on Earth. It's like, well, actually the giant fusion reactor in the sky is basically impossible to beat. To such a degree that even if you could burn Jupiter in a thermonuclear reactor, the amount of energy produced by the sun would still round up to 100%. That's how much energy the sun produces. So solar power is necessarily the future. And I think there's going to be a lot of solar-powered AI satellites. And I think Tesla's going to play a role in that. We've obviously refreshed the product line, so S3XY. If people haven't tried the Model S, 3X or Y, or the Cybertruck, I recommend at least getting a test drive or a test ride, as the case may be. Try out the full self-driving, and I think you'll be blown away. To those who do not, if you might be listening and don't have a Tesla, you should try one. And of course, we've got the Cybertruck, which is the toughest truck of all time. It's literally bulletproof, faster than a Porsche 911, and can out-tow a Ford F-350. So it's a great car, great truck. And then starting next year, we manufacture the Tesla Semi. So this is already, we already have a lot of prototype Tesla Semis in operation. PepsiCo and other companies have been using the Tesla Semi for quite some time. But we will start volume production at our Northern Nevada factory in 2026. So we've got two big products, or three massive products starting production next year. We've got Optimus, we've got Tesla Semi, and we've got the Cybercab. So, and then battery packs. So if you look at total U.S. power generation capability, it's roughly a terawatt. But the average power usage is less than half a terawatt. And that's because there are big differences in power usage between day and night. So the daily and seasonal variations in power consumption mean that the United States, and really every country, is only producing about half as much electrical energy as it could. Because without batteries, there's no effective way to buffer the energy. So what batteries actually enable is, even if you don't build any incremental power plants, you could double the energy output of the United States just with batteries. This is a super big deal. And in fact, I think that's really where most of the incremental energy production in the United States is going to come from. It's literally batteries. So a bigger deal than it may seem. And then we keep improving the battery design, so the Mega Block, which makes it really easy to deploy battery, utility scale batteries. So we've just simplified and brought more of the components to be internal to the batteries, so you can just show up and drop off a battery and it works. And then hopefully over time we will actually add more and more of the power electronics, so that Megapack will actually be able to output up to 35 kilovolts directly. So you won't need a substation, is what I'm saying. You can just literally drop it off, kind of like the way that a power wall, you just connect it to the house, the utility wires go on one side, and the other side goes to the house mains, and that's it. So we want to get Megapack to the point where you just literally take the utility wires and you plug them in, and it just works. So. Then we've got we've also built the world's largest supercharger network. So we do a lot of things here at Tesla. That's the biggest supercharging network in the world by far. And ultimately, you'll be able to go anywhere on Earth using a Tesla supercharger. And it's pretty close to anywhere on Earth, but it's it's going to be ultimately just anywhere. It'll just work anywhere. So the supercharger team has done great work expanding that and improving the efficiency of the supercharger network. And in North America, they did such a good job that the other car companies basically said, well, they'll just use the Tesla supercharger network. I'm like, okay, sounds good to us. It's always important to have a slide on safety in the factory, so we continue to improve safety for our factory workers. We care a lot about their well-being. Like one way you can just tell, like, if a company is a good company or not, if you just walk through the factory or walk through the office and catch the vibe. And the vibe in the Tesla factory is good. People are happy. That's how you know it's a good company. We've also put a lot of investment into raw materials. So we've built in South Texas and Corpus Christi the biggest lithium refinery outside of China, I believe. So it's starting off with 50 gigawatt hours of lithium, and we'll expand from there. So this is a very, very important to have, in a worst-case scenario, that we have the ingredients necessary to make a battery. Very important. And then we've got here on this site the cathode factory, which is just the sort of giant building about a half mile that way. And we're just making sure that we, from a supply chain standpoint, are resilient against any potential geopolitical challenges. And then also at this factory, we also make the 4680 cell, which is getting better and better. And that 4680 cell will be used in the Cybercab. It is being used in the Cybertruck and will be used in the Cybercab and also in Optimus. So that's going well. But we continue, obviously, to get cells from many suppliers. It's kind of like the chip fab thing. We'll take as many chips as our suppliers can provide us, but then beyond that, if they can't provide us with any incremental cells or chips, we kind of have to make them ourselves or we get stuck. That's the Tesla Semi factory. So it's going to be pretty cool to see these going down the road in scale. Yeah, so that's the basic plan. Sustainable abundance for all.
Okay, other than the last sustainable abundance for all, I liked what he had to say here. The Tesla Semi starting volume production in 2026, along with the Optimus and Cybercab. That's cool. I do look forward to seeing the Tesla Semis on the road. See where the Optimus and Cybercab come in to that. So I think that's cool. I love what he's talking about with the solar and the battery packs. I love what they're doing there. This is the thing. This is the thing that is so hard for me, is Tesla has done so many cool things that companies that have been around much longer than Tesla have either failed at or haven't implemented as well as Tesla has. So for them early on to be like, hey, we're doing all these great things. You can't see them yet, but nobody's done it as well as us. But you can't see it yet because we haven't actually put anything out there just yet. I don't think that's a very productive way of doing things. But in this clip that we just listened to, Elon has talked about all the cool things that Tesla's rolling out in terms of solar, especially like the battery pack stuff. Like Tesla right now has a lease for power packs or power walls that can go on the side of your house. And it's like $99 you have to put to secure it. And then depending on how many power walls you want, it's X amount of dollars per power wall. I think that's really cool. I don't know how many people are going to go for that at this point because it's still cheaper for me to pay for electricity than it is for me to pay for 2 Powerwalls, which is what I would need. But at some point in time, that math is going to work out because the utility companies aren't getting any cheaper. So at some point in time, that will, for me, that financial dance that you have to do with the amount of money that you have versus the amount of money that you're putting out, that's going to make more sense to get the Powerwalls. As of right now, the leases that Tesla has for the Powerwalls are like for 12 years or something like that. And I don't plan on being in my house for 12 years. So it may not be the best choice for me right now, but it might be a good choice for you. And look into it if that's something you're interested in. But like the mega packs, being able to like basically, build a concrete pad, set a mega pack down, and plug the required lines in to get the Powerwall online without doing a bunch of other stuff that what used to have to be done, but that's all done at the factory now. That's awesome. It's not just Tesla's doing that. There's all sorts of other companies that are doing that as well. At different things, not like, I think I spoke with Autel. Is it Autel? I spoke with a company at CES in like 2023, and they were doing something similar for charging infrastructure. Like, it just makes sense to build all that stuff in so that all you have to do is just plug the required lines in. That's awesome. I think that they're doing great stuff. And then also the lithium refining in Texas, the cathode factory. I believe that it's important, especially right now, to kind of build up against geopolitical challenges because, the world is weird right now. So I mentioned the lithium, the cathode factories, the 4680 cells going in the Cybercab and Optimus. That's fantastic. I wonder, did Tesla just give up on the 4680 cells entirely for the Model Y? Because the ones rolling out of Texas, they were supposed to get the 4680 cells, but then they paused that for a little bit and with the structural battery pack. So I'm curious, maybe they just decided that it's easier with the 4680 cells just to give those to the Cybertruck. There were some issues early on with the 4680 cells in production, but I believe those have largely been solved. Now, I don't think the 4680 cell is where Elon and team promised it back at Battery Day, but I think they're producing enough of them. So interesting that they're going to go into the Cybercab. They're already in the Cybertruck and Optimus. And then sustainable abundance for all. Blech. All right. That will be it for this episode. Next episode, we will cover the Q&A section because otherwise this podcast would be super long, this particular episode. So these are Elon's opening remarks. We will cover Q&A in the next episode, which will probably be tomorrow. And that one should be a little bit shorter just because some of the questions aren't necessarily that are asked maybe aren't relevant to what we do on this show. So, all right, everybody, if you want to email me, it's Bodie, BODIE at 918digital.com. You can find me on X at 918digital. I'm on LinkedIn. Just search for Bodie Grimm. And that's it for me. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I sure did. And I should talk to you tomorrow.
With ThreatLocker Zero Trust Protection, you can stop breaches before they happen. The result? No stress about the latest malware or zero-day attacks, because with ThreatLocker, you block them by default. Gain more control over your environment with ThreatLocker Zero Trust Protection.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success, like your enrollment specialist who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Sign up for Greenlight today at greenlight.com/podcast.